Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Aaron from AA Gaming, and today we're going to be taking a look at Wolfenstein: The New Order. Now, I've never played a Wolfenstein game before, so I'm completely new to this series. I've heard a lot of good things about it though, and with the new Colossus coming out just right around the corner, I thought I'd check this game out and see what the hype is all about. I'm going to go ahead and divide this review into 4 categories: story, gameplay, presentation, and we'll wrap it up with value. Alright, so we're going to talk about the story first, so fair warning, spoilers ahead. I'll have timestamps in the description so you can skip this part if you'd like. Wolfenstein: The New Order follows the story of William B.J. Blazkowicz, a tough, no-nonsense soldier whose sole purpose in life is to kill Nazis. The game begins in 1946, where we find BJ on a mission to assassinate General Death's Head. The mission fails, and BJ is severely injured. He goes into a coma and doesn't come to until 14 years later. By that time, the Nazis had already won the war. They now rule Europe with an iron fist, but BJ is having none of it. He seeks out the resistance and, with their help, is able to finally complete his mission. He returns to Death's Head's compound and puts an end to the dastardly villain himself. At the end of the game, BJ is presumed dead, but we all know that's not true because 1, this motherfucker survives everything, and 2, the new Colossus is coming out soon. Now, one thing I found consistent with the story is this feeling of desperation. Right from the start, you always feel like you're on the losing end of this war. Although solid gameplay makes you want to keep playing, and more on that later, I couldn't really sit through this game for more than an hour or 2. The story is kind of a downer, and every victory always comes with a sacrifice. I honestly thought this game was going to be a lot more campy, but far from it. It has a very serious tone, and it doesn't let up all the way till the end credits roll. Now, as you make your way through the game, you'll run across a variety of people and locations. The main supporting casts include Fergus Reed or Private Wyatt, depending on who you spare, Anya Oluwa, your main love interest, Caroline Becker, the leader of the Resistance, and the ragtag group of rebels who assist you along the way. The main antagonists are the ever-smiling General Death's Head and the highly persistent Frau Engel. Now, there isn't much in terms of character development, surprise surprise, but they do create enough personality here to make each individual convincing and believable. As far as settings go, the game will have you visiting several locations, from labor camps to German U-boats and even all the way up to the moon. There is enough diversity here to keep the story flowing and interesting. Every new level was a joy to play through and explore. Overall, I think they did a good job with the story. There's some solid writing here, and everything moves at a steady pace. The ending does leave something to be desired though. You go through all this shit, and after you win, Death's Head still gets the final laugh. Now don't get me wrong, it's not a bad ending. It's just not the fuck yeah ending I was really hoping for. But still, all in all, this is one of the better stories you'll find in a first-person shooter. This game is an absolute blast to play. Aside from a slightly janky cover system, shooting in this game is a ton of fun. There are a variety of guns at your disposal, and gun upgrades are available throughout the game. They've also included an RPG-like perk tree system that upgrades your stats based on your style of play. Like to go gung-ho, dual-wield your weapons, and yell Leroy Jenkins as you charge head-on against your enemies? Well, there's a perk tree for that. Like to take the side route sneaky-peeky-like and slowly assassinate your enemies one by one? There's a perk tree for that too. Now, as you go about blasting Nazi super soldatens into Kingdom Come, you may come across the game's various secrets and collectibles. These little guys make exploring Wolfenstein's highly detailed world very rewarding and highly worth it. The only thing that was slightly disappointing here is the lack of multiplayer. Now, doing a little bit of research, i.e. Wikipedia, I found out that the company wanted to focus on single player and didn't want to distract themselves making multiplayer. Now this is truly a shame. I can totally see myself playing this game online a lot. I hope this is something they'll consider in the future, but other than that, I really have no complaints. The New Order's gameplay is fun, exciting, and a rewarding experience. This is a beautiful game. Make no mistake, it can be rough around the edges, but its overall quality is quite superb. From the largest set pieces down to the smallest assets, you can tell that the development team cut no corners. Everything is lovingly detailed, and the design is as cohesive as possible. Bearing a slight steampunk aesthetic, Nazi soldiers ranging from grunts to the big bosses are intimidating and completely badass. Character models are top-notch. Every major character has their own distinct trait that make them unique. Cutscenes are also done well, as they almost seamlessly weave in and out of gameplay. Had they opted not to use a letterbox format, I think the flow between game and cutscene would have been smoother. But really though, the cinematography here is quite excellent. For a game that involves fast-paced, high adrenaline action, it would be easy to lose your audience when you slow down and start getting into exposition. This, fortunately, is not the case for the New Order. Occasionally using odd camera angles and some really cool scene transitions keep cutscenes fresh and interesting. Facial expressions are also done quite well, unlike some other games that have come out more recently. Anyway, I think they also did a good job with voice acting. The voice actors perfectly fit their characters, and I thoroughly appreciate that German characters actually speak German, and even the Jewish character, Set, speaks Yiddish. I'm not a big fan of when video games or movies force foreign characters to speak English for the sake of accessibility. By keeping their language intact, the characters in the New Order are allowed to become that much more authentic and realistic. Other than VO, the music here is fantastic. It's made by the same composer who worked on 2016's Doom. Need I say more? I mean really, Mick Gordon's style blends in perfectly with the gritty action and the somber moments of this game. It's such a beautiful marriage. I am very impressed by the presentation of this game. Solid graphics and stellar audio only augment the validity of all the praise this game has received. Alright, so let's do a quick recap of what we've covered so far, and we'll sum it up with the game's current price to see if this title is worth your time. Story is fascinating. It is a well-paced and interesting take on an alternate timeline where Nazis had won World War II. The bleak and hopeless tone of BJ's story is well written and believable, while a diverse cast and varied locations will keep you hooked and engaged. Solid and entertaining, this game has one of the better stories you'll find in a first-person shooter. Gameplay is a blast. Solid shooting mechanics mixed with stealth and light RPG elements creates an exhilarating and fun experience. The cover system, although sometimes janky, is well competent enough to warrant its inclusion. Throw in gun upgrades, a good variety of enemies, and lots of hidden secrets and collectibles, and you got yourself a really great shooter. The only thing I could really complain about here is the lack of multiplayer. Presentation is superb. The attention to detail is impressive, and the visual design is cohesive. The game looks great, and it sounds great. Voice casting and acting couldn't have been any better. And the music well complements the fast-paced and even the somber moments of the story. So now, how much is this game? Well, at the time of this review, you can get this game for about 10 to 20 bucks, depending if you buy used or new. That's 10 to 20 bucks for this masterpiece. If you are a fan of arcade-like shooters with a bit of an old-school flair, you can't go wrong with this game. I'm thoroughly convinced that Wolfenstein: The New Order completely lives up to all its hype. A good story with solid gameplay, as well as excellent video and audio design, is a combination rarely found in games today. And there's no BS here like Creation Club or loot boxes. Aside from the lack of multiplayer, I cannot recommend this game more. If you haven't played any of the Wolfenstein series, this is a good place to start. And with the new Colossus coming out soon, now is the perfect time to get acquainted with BJ and the Wolfenstein universe. Well, that's it for our review of Wolfenstein: The New Order. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I had fun making it. If you have any feedback, feel free to leave them down below. But for now, I've been Aaron from AA Gaming. Have a great rest of your day, guys, and we will see you on the next one.
Es gibt ein Haus in Neu-Berlin, man nennt es Haus Abendrot. Es war der Ruin vieler Gut.